Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out, and we appreciate the change of venue. My name's Eric Grip. I'm the Public Information Officer for the Philadelphia Police Department. We're here today to provide an update on a large-scale 3-day narcotics operation that took place last week in our East Division, Kensington neighborhoods. We're going to be hearing this afternoon from the Mayor, Police Commissioner Outlaw, and DC Vanore. At the conclusion of our presentation, we're going to set aside a few minutes for some Q&A. We just ask that you leave all of your questions until the end after all of our speakers have had a chance to go. So, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks, Eric, and good afternoon, everyone. Today, we stand alongside the Philadelphia Police Department and our law enforcement partners to thank them for their hard work during a highly successful 3-day narcotic operations last week. You have all shown incredible heroism and courage, and we owe you all a debt that can never be repaid. We are all grateful for your ongoing commitment to protect our city, combat the flow of dangerous drugs into our communities, and address the threat to public safety created by the illegal drug market. Like many communities across our country, Philadelphia is struggling with high rates of opioid addiction and the overdose crisis, particularly in our Kensington neighborhood. I want to thank our city employees who are there day and night experiencing the hurt and pain that the community lives with every day. And I think we can all agree that those deserving of the most thanks and recognition are the Kensington community and the community leaders who have been our trusted allies and partners. What is happening in Kensington is unacceptable. One life lost to gun violence or an overdose is one too many, and we cannot allow the continued operation of a drug market that exploits and endangers our residents. In order to build thriving neighborhoods, we must hold those who endanger others accountable for their actions. As the overdose crisis evolves, a strong collaborative response is needed to stem the tide. That's why our city and our partners in the community are exploring every option at our disposal. I want the public to know that there is no greater priority for our administration than to reduce crime, create safer communities, and a more just city for everyone. Our investments and action plan are guided by the insight and collaboration generously offered by community leaders and those with lived experience. And I'm proud of the progress that Philadelphia has made during our time in office, and I'm especially inspired by the courage and resilience of the Philadelphia Police Department and our law enforcement partners. We're proud to work with so many individuals and partners committed to saving lives and creating opportunities for healing. But we cannot solve this problem without the support of the community. You can learn more about the city's efforts and how you can get involved by visiting the Opioid Response Unit's webpage. We need all hands on deck. Today is evidence that change is possible when we all work together, and we will not stop in this fight to protect our communities. So on behalf of the city of Philadelphia, thank you for all you do, and God bless you all, and be safe. Before I bring up Commissioner Outlaw, I just want to reiterate, all the people standing next to me on either side is the team. They're a team from every level of government. No one thinks they're better than anybody else. They all roll up their sleeves and get to work and do the things that are necessary to create situations like this. And without our federal partners, on every level, not just on things like this, but on every level, we would be a lot less off than we are. And also our own police department, who have gone through hell in the last 3+ years with all the things they've had to deal with, and are still going out every single day, going to work, putting on their uniforms and getting there. And I think that that's something that we should recognize, because sometimes it gets lost in all the noise. So I want to thank everybody up here today. Thank you very much. And Commissioner Outlaw.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Good afternoon. I want to take a moment to highlight what you're about to hear is the culmination of an intensive 3-day operation conducted last week. This operation, as you can see, yielded significant results, including the arrest of 175 individuals involved in illicit activities and the seizure of a substantial quantity of guns and drugs. The coordinated efforts of our dedicated law enforcement personnel working hand in hand with our partners have proven instrumental in achieving these outcomes. Through their unwavering commitment and tireless work, we have made continued progress in disrupting criminal networks and removing dangerous substances and weapons from our streets. This successful operation exemplifies the effectiveness of our collaborative approach and demonstrates the power of working together, as the mayor mentioned, working together to combat the scourge of drug-related crime. The dedication and professionalism exhibited by our officers, as well as the support provided by the Kenney administration, the U.S. Attorney's Office of the Eastern District of Pennsylvania, the Pennsylvania Attorney General's Office, our federal partners at the DEA, HSI, and FBI, and then locally, whether it's SEPTA, the Philadelphia Sheriff's Office, the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office, and the Philadelphia Health Department, particularly the Department of Behavioral Health and Intellectual Disability Services, or DBHIDS, have all been instrumental in achieving these significant results. We remain resolute in our commitment to the safety and well-being of our communities. The arrests made and the confiscation of firearms and narcotics during this operation underscore our unwavering stance against those who seek to harm our residents and jeopardize public safety. I would again like to express my sincere appreciation to everyone involved in this operation for their exceptional work and for their unwavering dedication to serving and protecting the people of Philadelphia. Their courage and their commitment are truly commendable. And I know our narcotics strike force folks are, like to remain behind the scenes and don't necessarily like to show their faces, but I specifically want to give them a shout out for the work that they've done, not only in this effort, but the work that they've been doing over the last several years to address this issue as well. So now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Deputy Commissioner Frank Vanore. He's our Deputy Commissioner over investigations, and he's going to provide a very comprehensive overview of the three-day narcotics operation, shedding light on the specific details of the arrests, as well as the significant seizures of guns and drugs, some of which you see on the table here. So thank you all for your continued support as we strive to create a safer and more secure Philadelphia. DC Vanore.
Thank you. Good afternoon. So in an effort to continue to address gun violence in the city and drug trafficking, at the Commissioner's direction, we targeted in this initiative it's no secret, one of our most prolific areas for gun violence and drug trafficking. That's the 24th, 25th districts, our East Division. During the course of this, when we began several weeks before the initiative started, under the direction of our Narcotics Bureau Chief Inspector Flacco, we got all our partners together, not only locally, but federally and through the state, and we all coordinated our efforts in conducting intelligence gathering and investigations in those areas. Just to name some of the federal, we used DEA, the FBI, Homeland Security Investigations, our U.S. Marshals Service, ATF, and the U.S. Attorney's Office were all involved. In the state level, we had the Attorney General's Office, B&I Division, obviously, of Narcotics, were all involved in many of these investigations. Locally, there were all the city agencies, Department of Health, Sanitation, as well as Behavioral Health, and there was the Office of Violence Prevention, Parole and Probation. We were used, the Sheriff's Office was a gigantic help, CLIP, and many others, the District Attorney's Office, who had to read and go through each and every one of these warrants that we submitted as part of these investigations. So on the first day of the initiative, which would have been June 20th, last Tuesday, there were warrants conducted and served simultaneously by all the members of those organizations simultaneously in the target area. All told, during the course of this three-day initiative, 79 arrests and search warrants were served. During the course of the first day, numerous arrests were made and narcotics was seized inside several locations throughout the division. On day two, they switched to an open-air drug market. We utilized the personnel from the districts we call our VCR teams, violent crime reduction teams, who are trained to do narcotics work on the street. They were joined by the strike force and many of our federal partners, where we took down some open-air drug markets throughout the 24th, 25th, and even in some cases the 26th district. And numerous arrests were made. During the course of this entire initiative, our police assisted diversion program through behavioral health was offered when it was applicable. I think 27 people took us up on that and did receive help and went into the diversion program as a part of these investigations. Citywide, as far as our local units, just about every bureau, Special Patrol, Intelligence, Detective Bureau, and obviously Narcotics was involved during the course of this. And on day three, or let me stick to day two, we also, because of some of the substances we're dealing with, Most of these people had wounds because of the tranq that's being used in the area. We have a new technique that the city was, and the behavioral health, and they could explain it better than me. There's a wound care unit. It's mobile. It assisted us at our headquarters where we were using it. They were treating some of the individuals that needed treatment before we had to process them and move on. So they weren't hospitalized, but they were treated right on location by that particular mobile unit, and that's something they're using now every day in the unit. On day 3, we deployed over 50 uniformed bikes in the area. They did a lot of quality of life initiatives throughout the area. Citywide Vice also accompanied them. There were initiatives done by SEPTA on the platform areas in that Kensington corridor. Narcotics arrests were made, and several CVNs, our code violation notices, for different offenses, quality of life offenses, were issued. So all told, and a lot of the evidence is here because of our federal and state partners. Some of the evidence has been shipped to other processing locations, so obviously it's not all here. But all told, there was over $1.4 million worth of narcotics that's at a street level. There were 79 total warrants served, 175 arrests, as the commissioner said. And just to break some of those arrests down, 86 of those were for possession with the intent to deliver. 12 were for possession with intent to deliver, and they also had a firearm with them while they were doing that. There were 24 vice arrests for solicitation and prostitution arrest. There were 10 warrants for other violent crimes, and they were all served and made, and there was over 40 arrests made for possession. During the course of this, there were 46 code violations written. Right around $100,000 in U.S. currency was also recovered during the course of this, and it's 27 total guns that were taken into custody. Like I said, some of those guns are being processed through the state police and in other locations. So it was a pretty good amount of evidence recovered. They're guns. This is drugs that we won't see on the street this summer. So that's the point of this, and we're going to continue to do it. And we work with these partners, I just got to say, every single day. It's just this particular initiative, we were all in one place doing it all at the same time. All right, thank you.
Before we open up to questions, I just want to also acknowledge Councilmember Quetcy Lozada as well, and of course our U.S. Attorney Jackie Romero as well. But I just want to say that not only do we appreciate your unwavering support, you also recognize, each of you, that a lot of this work is done because of the additional resources that your offices bring. So I just wanted to publicly acknowledge you for that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. We're going to open it up to questions now. Yes, sir.
Of those weapons there, how many of them are ghost guns, do you know?
Two were ghost guns.
Okay.
I don't know particularly, but where they're, but there's 2 that were recovered.
Okay. We see in the canisters, looks like a bunch of marijuana and other sorts of drugs. There looks like a canister there, a can of some sort. Can you expand on what that might be?
I could find out. I could just tell you, though, marijuana-wise, there was over 60 pounds of marijuana.
60?
And there's 1,200 grams of heroin. Some of it was mixed with fentanyl, and there's over 850 grams of fentanyl. Now, there's a lot of other drugs that were recovered, but I could look with the narcotics people are behind you. When this is over, I could have them point out exactly what you're referring to.
Can you describe some of the guns that were recovered?
I don't have that list in front of me, but it was a multitude of guns, mostly automatic weapons. I see some, there's some shotguns, but I could get you a more detailed count. I don't have it in front of me. Most of them are semi-automatic, though.
When you think of automatic weapons recovered, what do you think of that?
Well, it's certainly dangerous, and like I said, these are 27 guns that won't be used in gun violence in the city of Philadelphia this summer. So that's what we're aiming to get as many off the street as we can.
There's been a lot of talk about xylazine. Was that recovered at all, or do you need to test for that?
The tranq, I don't see any here, but the tests on these narcotics weren't done yet. I'm sure the mixture of the heroin is going to come up with other substances inside it. As soon as that's all done, I might have a better picture of that. I'm sure there's fentanyl in narcotics here that we don't know about yet either, because it does mix with other narcotics. So I couldn't answer all that at this point.
I'll just basically provide a quick clarifying question. This is incredible how you can get this much in 3 days. What I can clarify for you all, to chemically analyze this will take a lot more. So to answer your questions on what is present, what we are seeing more and more is not just one thing present. We're often seeing different chemicals present. So over the next several weeks, we will test this evidence to then be able to say, this is what it looks like, this is what it's packaged like, but now truly, this is what's present.
Thanks, Director
Sure.
Garvey. OFS.
Thanks, Director Garvey. Yes, ma'am.
I don't know who would be the best to answer this question, but what kind of conversations, and you say that some of the people that receive treatment were taken up on an offer, what is kind of the communication there? Is it kind of like you're going to be arrested, or you can go?
Most of them cases, it's a small amount, and they were probably a buyer during the course of the investigation. So due to the circumstances, we have a whole protocol that I could explain to you. But when they do approach them, they'll ask them if they want to go into this diversion program. It requires them to enter into the program willingly, and then the charges are deferred through the DA's office.
You mentioned there were 10 warrants connected to violence. Can you provide
Yeah, any warrants that we had in our shooting investigation group and homicide that were where the residents or the locations we thought they were in that area, the marshals, the ATF went out and served those warrants during that course of time. They made 10 arrests. I can get you what all those warrants were. I don't have it in front of me, but 10 arrests were made during the course of this.
Was it any particular area that you guys focused on the most, or was it any and everywhere throughout the investigation?
Was mostly in the 24th and 25th districts in Kensington. The exact locations, because of the ongoing investigations, I'm not going to identify where they were, because we had, obviously, these are narcotics investigations. There's undercover work done, and I don't want to identify everything that's going on.
Could you or the health department expand on the wound care unit, when that launched, and how critical that was to this investigation?
Thank you, Noel.
Can you tell us your name?
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. I'm Noelle Foyson. I'm the director of the opioid response unit. I'm not the expert on the wound care unit, but I can say that the wound care unit launched last year as a pilot, and it was specifically put in place in Kensington to deal with the wounds that we're seeing from the xylazine. What happened last week, though, was a partnership between the wound care van that's funded through the Department of Behavioral Health and Intellectual Disability Services to support police operations, and it is something that we are planning on moving forward being a permanent partnership. And so it's there to address the wounds, to provide treatment for the wounds. If people want to enter treatment, they're able to clear them medically to access treatment, those types of things.
Time for 2 more questions.
I have 2 questions, and one of them is, how often will these operations take place?
Well, we usually don't tell you when we're coming to get you for narcotics, so I don't know. We are going to do them. We do operations like this all the time, but they're at a smaller level. This was done all together. There was a time back, a few years back, probably before COVID, where we did them more frequently. I'm sure we will do them again, maybe in different sections of the city, but I'm not going to comment on when and where we're going to do it.
And regarding the residents of Kensington, because when you talk to them, I'm sure they're going to be happy about this, but they're also going to ask what more is being done to make my neighborhood safe. What can you tell them who are going to be watching all these stories?
Well, they're going to do everything they can to enforce the law and obviously keep them safe while they're in Kensington, do everything we can. You know, it's a huge, prolific issue. I was the police captain there for several years, so I could tell you that, the officers there work very, very hard, but, it's a lot. That's why a help like this, it's always welcome, especially by the officers that are working in the area.
Let me play the role of the skeptical viewer. There have been press conferences featuring guns and drugs on the table for a long time. You mentioned you were a police captain in Kensington for a long time. Those issues have remained. For someone who's watching this and might be skeptical of the impact, what would you say to them?
Well, the impact is we're having a reduction in violent crime this year, and I'm hoping that seizures like this are a part of it. And we're hoping that our overdoses, which trend down a little bit, keep going down because we're taking drugs like that off the street.
And then I'll just close by saying this. I think you often hear me refer to our partnerships, whether it's with our 3-letter agencies at the federal level. You hear us talking about us working with the AG's office. You hear us talking about our work with the DA. I mean, all of these partners. But folks, that doesn't necessarily translate. So I think something like this every now and again is a reminder that we are out here working behind the curtain, but this is what the results look like. So sometimes people are visual. They need to see what the results or the outcomes of these operations are. And we're hoping that when we do things like this, it not only opens the door to our enforcement actions, but it also reminds people that we're still here even though you don't always see us. Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Sorry, question for Councilmember Lozada. Just with how proactive Kensington residents are, what more can they do to support these efforts or take action?
I think first, let me just say thank you to everyone who was involved in this, right? Since I've came in, I've been asking about enforcement, and this is a result of what happens when partners come together. As it relates to the residents of Kensington, I think that it's important for them to take an active role in these types of situations safely, right? We offer many opportunities for community residents to report what they see in their neighborhoods in order to help us improve their quality of life. And so continuing to stay active in the neighborhood, share information when they have it in a safe capacity, and just understand that partners like this really do want to help. I also want to say thank you to the officers of the 24th, 25th, and 26th Police District, because like the captain or like the commissioner said, oftentimes we don't see the work, and so it's really easy for us to say that the work is not happening, but they are really hardworking men and women who show up every day and do the work.
Thank you, Councilor. We have one more question over here.
Sorry, for Councilmember, can you do it in Spanish?
Para nosotros,
Quería preguntarle exactamente qué representa para usted este tipo de acciones en un vecindario donde usted particularmente tiene que lidiar con situaciones así todos los días y reclamo de la comunidad.
Para mí esto es una actividad, un momento donde podemos decir que hemos logrado algo, ¿no? Juntos hemos trabajado por varios meses pidiéndole a los diferentes departamentos, a los diferentes colegas de ellos que hagan un esfuerzo y que nos enseñen que sí están trabajando, que están haciendo el esfuerzo de traer más seguridad a nuestras comunidades. Entonces es importante, como la comisionadora del Departamento de Policía dijo, ¿no? A veces cuando no vemos esto, hay una manera de decir que no estamos haciendo nada, pero esto es un resultado de qué se puede lograr cuando cada una de estas personas aquí pues se unen y trabajan juntos para mejorar la calidad de vida de nuestras comunidades. Eso para mí es un día muy exitoso.
¿Habrá más acciones como estas?
Porque porque todavía está de investigación, ¿verdad? No sabemos cuántas, ni cómo, ni a dónde. Pero mi compromiso de pedirle que continúen trabajando juntos sigue, la presión sigue y vamos a lograr más trabajando juntos, ¿no? Quiero también darle las gracias a los oficiales del Departamento del 25, 24 y 26 que día a día llegan a sus lugares de trabajo y están comprometidos con nuestras comunidades.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.